Legal study on 3R to be tabled in Cabinet. Malaysian companies seal $38.4 billion deals at Semicon West 2023. Good evening, Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah expressed condolences to the family of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub, who died yesterday. Also expressing the condolence was Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria. In a post on Istana Negara's Facebook page, Their Majesties also expressed sadness over the passing of the minister and hope that his entire family would be patient and persevere. Their Majesties appreciate all the contributions, deeds and services rendered by Datuk Seri Salahuddin to the country and describe his death as a huge loss to the people and the country. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim also expressed his condolences and described the late Datuk Seri Salahuddin as a leader who had been consistent in fighting for the people's well-being, especially on cost of living issues.
Saudara Allahyarham Salahuddin ini sinonim dengan rahmah dan itu menunjukkan sifat dia yang konsisten. Dalam mesyuarat perjumpaan dengan saya dalam Jemaah Menteri tidak pernah terlepas cari jalan dan kaedah meringankan beban rakyat. Saya juga ambil kesempatan ini kerana disampaikan oleh Kebahadulian Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Agong untuk menyampaikan takziah Kebahadulian Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Agong dan Raja Pemaisuri kepada anak-anak dan keluarga Allahyarham Salahuddin.
The remains of Datuk Seri Salahuddin were laid to rest at the Jalan Sulong Muslim Cemetery in Sekat Pontian at around noon today. Thousands of people comprising politicians, friends and relatives, as well as the general public attended the funeral of the minister who had been so dedicated to helping alleviate the burden of the people, especially the cost of living. Meanwhile, the Election Commission EC is waiting for official notification from the Dewan Rakyat Speaker and the Speaker of the Johor State Legislative Assembly regarding the vacancies for the Pulau Parliamentary seat and the Simpang Jeram State seat following the death of the incumbent. EC Secretary Datuk Ikmaruddin Ishak said a special meeting to determine the important election writs will be decided by the Commission upon receiving vacancy notices from both speakers. Elections for both states need to be held following the death of the incumbent, Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub, who was also the Minister of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living yesterday. He died at the Sultanah Bahiyah Hospital in Al-Ustar at 9:23 p.m. yesterday after undergoing surgery due to brain hemorrhage. He was 61. Discussions on studies on laws relating to 3R royalty, religion and race issues, including whether there is a need to introduce a new act, would be tabled in the Cabinet at its meeting this week. Minister and Prime Minister's Departments for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Seri Azalina Osman, however, said the study would be made comprehensively before any other resolution is made.
Tapi perlu perbanyak lagi perbincangan lah. Sebab kalau kita tak melihat pada aspek perpaduan dalam jangka masa yang panjang untuk Malaysia, nanti sentiasa akan mewujud politik menggunakan agama, bangsa dan institusi raja sebagai elemen bulat politik lah pada saya lah. Tapi undang-undang tu banyak bercakap memang mencukupi. Tapi itu elemen jenayah. Saya rasa sekarang ni kita kena tengok di segi dia punya aspek dalam angle perpaduan lah.
The government also continues to involve all stakeholders in considering the holistic direction of policy and legislation to be used as a guide for the administration. Workers in the countries should have Employees Provident Fund EPF savings of at least 240,000 ringgit by the time they reach the age of 55 to enable them to retire gracefully. According to Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Maslan, the estimated savings would enable someone to sustain life for 20 years after retirement with an expenditure rate of 1,000 ringgit per month.
Sepatutnya apabila kita bersara, kita ada 240,000 minima simpanan KWSP. 240,000 minima simpanan KWSP untuk bersara dengan kiraan RM1,000 sebulan. RM1,000 sebulan. Dan itu adalah selama berapa belas tahun tu? 20 tahun. Kita pencen 55 campur 20 jadi 75 tahun. 75 tahun ini antara jangka hayat rakyat negara kita.
The minister said among the suggestions given to the workers to increase their APF saving is by making voluntary contributions through the Saraan scheme. He said that as of June this year, over 500,000 contributors had opted to make contributions through the Saraan scheme and that the government intends to maximize participation in the scheme. As such, 26 mobile EPF counters were launched on 4th July in the eastern region, especially in rural areas, to promote and provide information about the scheme and retirement-related matters. Through these mobile counters, EPF contributors and the general public can get retirement advice and calculate retirement savings to assess their sufficiency and ultimately secure a better retirement. The coming visit of several top foreign leaders to Malaysia are a clear sign of their confidence in the country's political stability. The Nusantara Academy of Strategic Research geostrategist and senior fellow, Professor Dr. Azmi Hassan, said no countries would want to explore investment potential or forge a cooperation with another country whose political situation is not stable. He believed that the main agenda of the Philippine President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.'s visit from 25th to 27th July is for economy and trade. Not only that, the visit would also be used to discuss ASEAN geopolitical matters and the code of conduct in the South China Sea. Dr. Azmi also said the visit of Timor-Leste President Dr. Jose Ramos Horta to Malaysia at the end of the month could be taken as an indicator that other countries have a high regard for Malaysia's role and influence in ASEAN. Meanwhile, University Science Malaysia political sociology lecturer Dr. Siva Murugan Pandian said the confidence manifested by the foreign leaders' trips to Malaysia was closely linked to the standings of the nation's top leaders. He said that they choose Malaysia not only because of their confidence in the country's stability, but also the deep respect for the federal leaders. In a foreign front, 11 killed after school gym collapses in China. 11 people have died after the roof of a school gym collapsed in northeastern China. State news agency Xinhua reported that the collapse in Qixihar, Heilongjiang province was caused by construction workers illegally placing perlite on the building's roof. Heavy rain then led the perlite to expand and increase in weight, causing the roof to collapse. Local newspaper Heilongjiang Daily said 19 people were at the gym when the accident took place. 4 escaped and 4 others survived after being pulled from the rubble. Footage aired by the state broadcaster CCTV showed the roof, made of concrete slabs, according to the state media, gave way in its entirety. An in-depth investigation of the accident was in progress, state media has said, with those in charge of the construction company having been placed in police custody. At least 15 people were killed after a wooden boat sank off the coast of Indonesia's Sulawesi Island. Local search and rescue agencies said the boat sank with 48 people on board just after midnight. 6 people were rescued and taken to hospital for treatment, it added, and the cause of the sinking was being investigated. The 27 other passengers had been accounted for and all the victims had been identified. The boat was crossing a bay between the villages of Lanto and Lenggili in central Buton Regency of Muna Island. Indonesian media reported that villagers had travelled for a local celebration and gathered on an overcrowded boat that capsized on its way back across the bay. It is common in Indonesia for the actual number of passengers on a boat to differ from the manifest. Authorities evacuated nearly 2,500 people from the Greek island of Corfu as crews fight several wildfires in heat-battered Greece. Tens of thousands of people have already fled blazes on the island of Rhodes, with many frightened tourists scrambling to get home. A fire service spokesman said about 2,400 visitors and locals were evacuated from Corfu from Sunday into Monday, adding the departures were precautioned. Rhodes, which counted 2.5 million visitors' arrivals in 2022, is one of the Greece's leading holiday destinations. Greek television broadcast images of long lines of people, some in beachwear, lugging suitcases along the island's roads on Saturday when the evacuations were ordered. Archaeologists working on a 2,000-year-old Roman cemetery discovered in Gaza last year have found at least 125 tombs, most with skeletons with largely intact and 2 rare-lit sarcophaguses. The impoverished Palestinian territory was an important trading post for civilizations as far back as the ancient Egyptians and the Philistines depicted in the Bible through the Roman Empire and the Crusades. One of the 2 sarcophaguses was decorated with images of grapes and the other with dolphins. At least 25 engineers and technicians were engaged on Sunday despite the soaring heat in digging, clearing the dirt and persevering the skeletons. They have also been piecing together clay jars found inside some of the graves. Verstappen cruises to win his Red Bull set record. That and more next in sports. Now let's move into tennis first. Russian Andrei Rublev won his second title of the season at Bastad with a straight sets win over top seed Casper Ruud. Through 7-6, 6-love against the Norwegian, world number 4 for his 14th career title and second this season after the Monte Carlo Masters in April. After a tight first set, Rublev, 25, took control of the tie, winning 80% of his first serve points to seal victory after 1 hour and 33 minutes. Despite being a clay court specialist with 9 of his 10 titles, including Bastad in 2021, on the surface, Ruud was unable to find a solution to the power of Rublev's game. Dominant Formula One leader Max Verstappen ran away with the Hungarian Grand Prix by a mighty margin as Red Bull made history with a record 12th victory in a row. McLaren's Lando Norris was run-up for the second straight race, but 33.731 seconds behind the checkered flag on a hot afternoon at the Hungaroring. Verstappen's teammate and closest title rival Sergio Perez had to settle for third after starting ninth and chasing Norris in the closing stages before the Briton built up more of a buffer. The 44th career win was a 9th in 11 races so far this season for Verstappen and 7th in a row, stretching his lead over Perez 210 points, with the double world champion also taking the fastest lap. The run of 12 beat McLaren's 11 in a row in 1988, recorded by greats Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna. Mercedes' 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton finished 4th after starting on pole for the 104th time time in his career and first since 2021, with McLaren's Australian rookie Oscar Piastri fifth. Jonas Vingegaard won his second successive Tour de France after Jordi Mears claimed the final stage honours on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. Denmark's Vingegaard of the Jumbo-Visma team crossed the finish line after the 21-day race, 7 minutes 29 seconds ahead of Slovenia's Tadej Pogačar, the champion in 2020 and 2021. Pogačar's UAE teammate Adam Yates of Great Britain rounded out the top three podium. Vingegaard's winning margin was the largest since 2014, when Italian Vincenzo Nibali took the Fable champions' yellow jersey by 7 minutes and 39 seconds.
It's a feeling of being proud of and happy, of course. We're winning it for the second time now, and it's really amazing. And today, with all the spectators, all the Danish people here was really amazing, and I have to say thanks to not only my team and my family, but also to the whole of Denmark.
The final stage was won by outsider Muse of the Bora team, with Jasper Philipsen denied a fifth stage win on this tour right at the line in the photo finish. Coming up in our business segment, Twitter website replaced bird logo with X. The communications and multimedia, or C&M industry, plays a prominent role in the economic landscape of Bursa Malaysia, as it accounts for approximately 8.1% or 140.38 billion ringgit of total market capitalisation, amounting to 1.736 trillion ringgit as of 31st December last year. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadil said the significant contribution demonstrated the industry's pivotal role in fostering the growth of the digital economy and the development of robust ecosystems.
The presence of the C&M industry within the Bursa Malaysia signifies its importance as a driving force behind technological and advancement and digital transformation. Through the facilitation of efficient communication, channel and multimedia platform, this industry serves as a catalyst for various sectors to harness the power of connectivity and innovation.
He said this in a speech read out by Communications and Digital Ministry Secretary General Datuk Muhammad Fauzi Mat Isa at the launch of the Converged Telecommunications Policy and Regulations CTPR 2023 Masterclass today. Any employers wishing to downscale their manpower are reminded to prioritise maintaining local workers instead of foreign workers. Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar emphasised that for every job opportunity in the country, the importance of local workers must take precedence over the others.
Dalam usaha untuk mengecilkan tenaga kerja, jangan sekali-sekali kita nak buang pekerja tempatan dan mengekalkan pekerja asing. Jangan buat perkara ini dengan niat tersebut. Kita ada syarikat, dalam syarikat itu ada pekerja tempatan dan juga kita ada pekerja asing. Tetapi dalam usaha kita untuk mengecilkan operasi, jangan pula kita menindas pekerja tempatan, buang pekerja tempatan dan kita nak mengekalkan pekerja asing.
He said this at the Job Insurance System Early Intervention Program 2023 and Perkeso Benefits presentation in Seremban. As of 17 July this year, a total of 23,655 workers have been laid off and 91.6 million ringgit in job search allowance JSA has been paid to those involved. The Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation (MATRADE) reveals that Malaysian companies achieved potential sales worth $38.4 million at the Semicon West 2023 held in San Francisco, the United States recently. In a statement today, MATRADE's Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Export Acceleration, Syarimatun Mat Saleh, said the achievement underscored the strong interest and confidence in Malaysia's technical capabilities in the electrical and electronics E&E industry. She said this year marked MATRADE's 13th participation at Semicon West, reinforcing MATRADE's unwavering commitment to strengthen Malaysia's presence in the global semiconductor value chain. According to Syarimatun, Malaysia is a major link in the global electronics supply chain, accounting for 7% of global semiconductor trade and 13% of global chip assembly, testing and packaging activities. As many as 11 Malaysian companies participated in the event. The event showcased a diverse range of cutting-edge products and technologies in automated testing equipment, vision inspection machines, precision dispensing systems, electronic manufacturing services, and outsourced semiconductor testing and assembly services. The Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute (MARDI) will unveil more than 300 tech innovations at its MARDI Technology Showcase 2023 (ShowTech) to be held at the Malaysia Agro Expo Park from 25th to 27th August. MARDI Director General Dato' Dr. Muhammad Zabawi Abdul Ghani said the innovations will include new rice and coconut varieties as well as the Internet of Things IoT technology in agriculture and smart farming.
Yang pertamanya memang kita fokus kepada varieti-varieti padi, kemudian varieti kelapa yang kita bangunkan, kemudian teknologi mekanisasi seperti smart farming dan juga teknologi yang berkaitan dengan ternakan dari segi pemeliharaan baka lembu, kambing dan juga ayam.
He said entrance is free and 500,000 visitors are expected to visit ShowTech MARDI 2023. The exhibits will include technology displays, food manufacturing demonstrations, technology seminars, business matching sessions, as well as farming and entrepreneur clinics. Malaysia's Consumer Price Index (CPI) continued to ease in June to 2.4%, the lowest level recorded so far in 2023, while inflation, which came in at 2.8% year-on-year in May, has shown a moderating trend since January when it stood at 3.7%. In a statement today, Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the slower increment in June was driven by the lower increase in components such as restaurants and hotels 5.4%, food and non-alcoholic beverages 4.7%, and furnishings, household equipments and routine household maintenance 2.3%. On state-level inflation, 10 states recorded increases below the national inflation level of 2.4%, with the Labuan Federal Territory posting the lowest increase of 1.2% in June. In comparison to selected countries in the Asia-Pacific region, the inflation rate in Malaysia was lower than that in South Korea, Indonesia and the Philippines. Meanwhile, inflation in the Eurozone increased at a slower rate of 5.5% in June 2023 versus 6.1% in the previous month, while inflation in the United States eased to 3% against 4% in May. The international reserves of Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) increased to $111.8 billion as at 14 July, compared with $111.4 billion at 30th June. The central bank said in a statement today that the reserves position is sufficient to finance 5.1 months of imports of goods and services and is one time the total short-term external debt. The main components of the international reserves were foreign currency reserves, international monetary fund reserves position, special drawing rights (SDR), gold and other reserve assets. Meanwhile, total assets stood at 623.19 billion ringgit, comprising gold and foreign exchange and other reserves, including SDR, Malaysian government papers, loan and advances, land and buildings, and other assets. BNM added that capital and liabilities comprised paid-up capital, reserves, currency in circulation, deposits by financial institutions, federal government deposits and other deposits. This also includes Bank Negara papers, allocation of SDR and other liabilities. Now, Twitter launched its new logo, replacing the blue bird with a white X on a black background as the Elon Musk-owned company moves towards rebranding as X. The social media network's website showed the company's new logo, but its URL was still showing as twitter.com and the blue tweet button was visible, suggesting the rebrand was not yet finalized. Late Sunday, the logo was projected on the exterior of the company's offices in San Francisco. The Twitter handles for Musk and Twitter Chief Executive Officer Linda Yaccarino now feature the X logo, although the Twitter Bluebird is still visible across the platform. Later in the Twitter Spaces audio chat, Musk replied yes when asked if the Twitter logo will change, adding that it should have been done a long time ago. Musk had already named Twitter's parent company the X Corporation and previously said his takeover of the social media giant was an accelerant to creating X, the Everything app. Since Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion last October, the platform's advertising business has partially collapsed as marketers source on massive firings at the company that gutted content moderation as well as on Musk's management style. In response, the billionaire SpaceX boss has moved toward introducing payments and commerce through the platform in a search for new revenue. Equities were mixed today in Asia, with investors gearing up for policy decisions at major central banks this week and concern over the Chinese economy continuing to dampen sentiment. With recent data releases suggesting inflation is now coming down after more than a year of interest rate hikes, hope is building that officials are close to bringing an end to their tightening cycles. The key focus will be on the Federal Reserve, which is widely expected to announce another increase in borrowing costs, while traders are looking for guidance on its plans after that. A string of positive data in recent months has given the Fed some room to take its foot off the pedal and allow the economy to avert a feared recession. Dutch bank economists wrote in a recent note to clients that they see the line between mild recession and soft landing as increasingly fine and view the probabilities of the later outcome undeniably on the rise. Goldman Sachs has cut its probability of recession in the next 12 months to 20% from 25%. Investors continue to fret over the outlook for China's economy after last week's data showing slower than expected growth in the second quarter. They will be keeping a close eye on a key Politburo meeting this week, hoping for some stimulus measures, with recent pledges of support seen as not going far enough. Alright, so that concludes Malaysia Tonight this time around. In our top story, legal study on 3R to be tabled in Cabinet. Do tune in to updates at noon coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on TV2. Now, before we leave, let's take a look at the dozens of life-size fiberglass cow taking up their position along Reform Avenue as the cow parade exhibition kicked off in Mexico. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin, Malaysia Madani, tekad perpaduan, penuhi harapan. Thank you for watching.